Hello, myself Dr. Kalyani, working as Associate Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering of Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. In this video, I will discuss regarding software process framework. This topic learning outcome is mapped with the course outcome of CO1, which is identify the appropriate process model, approaches and techniques to manage a given software development process. In this video, I will discuss regarding what are the major process framework activities and what are the umbrella activities to support the major framework activities. What is software process framework? A software process framework is a structured approach that defines the steps, tasks, and activities involved in the software development. So, this framework is served as foundation for software engineering, guiding the development team through various stages to ensure systematic and efficient process. A software process framework helps in project planning, risk management, and quality assurance by dealing with the chronological order of actions. Different software organizations use a variety of framework activities depending upon the nature and complexity of the project. A software process framework generally have the following structure: that process framework and umbrella activities. And umbrella activities contains the task set, and each task test consists of work task, milestone, and SQA points. A software process is generally consists of tasks which focus on small and specific objective. Actions, it is a set of tasks that produce a major work product. Activities are the group of related tasks and actions for major objective. The key features for the framework are the foundation, components and tools, best practices and guidelines, customization. The foundation gives a basic structure or template for developing the software. The component and tools include pre-built components and tools to make development faster and easier. These are generally variety of case tools are used to support the software development. Best practices and guidelines offers the guidelines to ensure software is built in an organized and efficient way. The customization, developers can modify and add new functions to customize the framework to their specific needs. The advantages of software framework is increased productivity, consistent quality, reduced development time, better maintainability, enhanced security, and scalability. The disadvantages are complexity overhead, performance overhead, and vendor lock-in. The complexity overhead introduces unnecessary complexities, especially for smaller and simpler projects, which can lead to over-engineering. The performance overhead is using a framework may introduce additional layers of abstraction and overhead. In case of vendor logging, depending heavily on a specific framework can lead to vendor lock-in, making it challenging to switch alternative technology and framework in the future. The factors for the selection of process framework. So here the parameters that are considered for framework selection are the framework language, open source or paid framework, the community and support, case studies and example applications built on this selected framework, and testing procedure for the framework. Software process framework activities are majorly 5 activities. They are communication, planning, modeling, construction, deployment. The first activity is the communication activity, which involves majorly 2 tasks. One is requirement gathering, second one is objective settings. In the requirement gathering, engaging with the consumers and stakeholders through meetings, interviews, and surveys to understand their need and expectations. So, the requirements are gathered from the customer, analyzed, feasibility study is conducted, and requirement engineering process is applied on the collected requirements. In the objective setting, clearly defining what the system should achieve based on the gathered requirements. The next framework activity is the planning. The planning majorly involves the tasks of work plan, risk assessment, resource allocation, schedule definition. The work plan is creating a detailed plan that outlines the tasks and activities needed to develop the software. The risk assessment, identifying potential technical risks, planning how to mitigate them. So, risk may be identified, prioritized, categorized, and risk mitigation plans are developed. In the resource allocation, determining the resources like time, personnel, tools required for the project. In the schedule definition, setting a timeline for completing different phases of the project. The next framework activity is the modeling activity. Modeling activity comprises of 2 tasks. One is analysis of requirement, next one is design. In the analysis of requirement, breaking down the gathered requirement to understand what the system needs to do. So here the requirements are discovered, prioritized, categorized, and validated in the analysis of requirement. These validated requirements are documented in software requirement specification. The design activity, creating architectural and detailed designs that are outline how software will be structured, how it will be function. The designing can be facilitated with the UML diagrams. Example, class diagram, sequence diagram, use case diagram to visualize or to provide blueprint of the software to be developed. The example of use case diagram for ATM. The use case diagram generally produces the stakeholder interaction with the system functionality. The notations that are used in the use case diagrams are generally stick figures or diactors used to represent the stakeholders, and the use case, which is generally represented the functionality or feature of the software with vowel shape notation by specifying the feature as the center. So, take the use case diagram of ATM as an example. The stakeholders that are involved for the interaction with the software are customer, technician, and the bank. The features or functionality provided by the bank ATM are represented as use cases like check balance, deposit funds, withdrawal funds, transfer funds, maintenance, repair. All these are the features or functions that are provided by the bank ATM. The stakeholder, the customer, is interacting with check balancing, deposit funds, withdraw funds, transfer funds. But the technician is limited to use the functionalities of maintenance and repair. But the bank can have interaction with overall use case functionalities. The next diagram that is used to model the design is the sequence diagram for ATM. The sequence diagram is the behavioral model, and during runtime, how the software is behave, the execution behavior is modeled, visualized with the help of sequence diagram. Consider sequence diagram for ATM. The objects that are involved in providing the functionality are listed at the top as a rectangular boxes. Here, in the case of ATM, three objects are considered. They are user, ATM, and the bank. Each object can have the lifeline, which is shown as a vertical dashed line for each object. And when the object is involved in the interaction, that can be represented as a focus of control, which is a thin long rectangle. And the sequence of messages, how the system behavior during execution is visualized in the sequence diagram. So here, the sequence of activities that are carried out during ATM interaction with the user is first initiated by inserting a card by the user and required the PIN from the ATM, then entering the PIN so that the ATM can verify the PIN with the bank. If it all verified the correct and validated PIN, requesting select the option, the user selected the withdraw option and withdraw fund can be carried out. So like this, the sequence diagram is used to model the activities to perform a transaction from the software. Next phase, the next major framework activity is the construction. The construction involves two tasks: code generation, testing. The code generation is writing the actual code based on the design modules. Testing is running tests to ensure the software works as intended, identifying and fixing the bugs. Variety of testing procedures can be applied at various levels of testing like unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and acceptance testing. Next framework activity is deployment. Deployment generally involves the tasks of product release, feedback collection, product improvement. In the product release, delivering the software to the users either as a full release or in stages. Feedback collection involves gathering feedback from the users about their experience with the software. Product improvement is making changes and improvements based on the user feedback to enhance the product. The popular process frameworks are Angular, React, Django, Flask, Ruby on Rails, Spring, Express, Laravel, ASP.NET Core. To support these major framework activities, Variety of umbrella activities are used in the software engineering. The umbrella activities are a series of steps or procedures followed by the software development team to maintain the progress, quality, changes, and risks of completed development tasks. These steps of umbrella activities will evolve through the phases of the generic view of the software development. Generally, common activities apply to the entire software project, help the software development, team management, and track progress, quality, changes, and risk. The variety of umbrella activities are risk management, measurement and metrics, reusability management, document preparation and production, software configuration management, software quality assurance, formal technical reviews, software project tracking and control. What is software project tracking and control? This activity allows the software team to check the progress of the software development. Before the actual development starts, make a software development plan, and on the basis of this developed plan, a certain period of time, it is necessary to analyze the development progress to find out what measures need to be taken. It must be accepted at an appropriate time after the completion of development, testing, etc. The test results may need to reschedule the development time. The risk management is another umbrella activity, and it is a series of steps to help software development teams understand and manage uncertainty. It is a very good idea to identify it, assess likelihood of happening, assess its impact, and develop an if the problem does happen. Contingency plan should be developed to mitigate it. Next umbrella activity is software quality assurance. It defines and conducts the activities required to ensure the software quality. The quality of the software, such as user experience, performance, workload flexibility, must be tested, verified after reaching the specific milestones, which reduces the tasks at the end of the development process, which must be performed by a dedicated team so that development can be continued. Formal technical reviews is another umbrella activity which is used to assess software engineering work products is an effort to uncover or remove errors before they are propagated to the next activity. So, it is done in clusters and modules. After completing each module, it is good practice to review the completed module to find out and remove errors so their propagation to the next module can be prevented. Next umbrella activity is measurement and metric. This includes all measurements, all aspects of the software project. The roles that are involved in the software project, each role work must be quantified with the measurement and metrics. Define, compile processes, product metrics to help the team deliver software that meet the needs of the stakeholders. It can be used in conjunction with all other frameworks and general operations. Next umbrella activity is Software Configuration Management (SCM). It manages the impact of changes throughout the software processes. Majorly, the requirement change is concentrated and tracked with the SEM team. The SEM is set of activities designed to manage changes by identifying work products that can be changed, establishing relationships between them, and defining mechanisms for managing different versions of the software. Another umbrella activity is reusability management, defining the standards for the reuse of work products, including all software components, and develop mechanisms to implement reusable components. This includes the approval of any part of the backing up software, projects, or any type of support provided for updates and updated in the future. Update software according to user or current time requirements is basically on the reusability components. Work product preparation and production encompasses the activities required to create work products such as models, documents, logs, forms and lists. So the artifacts production and the template and managing these artifacts are majorly focused in the work product preparation and production umbrella activity. So the project and process are the major concern. The major framework activity and umbrella activities are majorly used in the software projects. Then what is the difference between project versus process? So the project management majorly involves practice daily meetings, but the process management lists down and standardize. In case of project, long time expenses, but create guidelines for repetitive process. And it is pre-planned, but in the process always keep improving during next iterations. So variety of process frameworks available are the waterfall model, the agile software development, and the DevOps. In the waterfall model, all these major framework activities like communication, planning, modeling, construction, and deployment are carried out in a linear sequential approach to the software development with distinct phases such as requirement gathering, design, implementation, testing and maintenance. But the change of requirement is very difficult to accommodate in case of waterfall model. After requirement analysis, once the requirements are frozen, then only the next phases are commenced. So these difficulties can be avoided with the agile software development. It is a flexible, iterative approach to the software development with an emphasis on rapid prototyping and continuous delivery. The DevOps is another process framework activity which uses a set of practices that aims to improve collaboration and communication between development and operation teams. The coordination between development and operational teams are greatly improved with DevOps, with an emphasis on automating the software delivery process. So in this video, I discussed regarding what are the software process framework, what are major process framework activities, and what are the umbrella activities, how project is differentiated with the process. In the market, what are the major process frameworks are discussed in this video. And the references used in this video are this. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.